Good evening to everyone out there, and welcome once again to our usual Monday program, The Debate. Today is a special one, of course, and I want to wish all the women out there a happy Women's Day. We are celebrating the 36th edition of the Women's Day, and I equally want to give a big shout out to our women in the studio. We have Pertulla, who is already with us here. Madam Oben will be joining us in a while. But we have some other women who are working in the background. I am thinking of Madam Sompon Vera. I have Mama Lee Wal, and we equally have Rachel Ekome, who is always with us on this program. Thank you so much. And today, like I said already a while ago, is going to be hectic, so interesting, so inspiring, because we have a host or a school of CEOs who are going to be telling us more about their projects, their organizations, and equally telling us how they impact the lives of women who every day are trying to see how they can gain equality. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Petula Eziga, who is the CEO of Leap Girl Africa. I hope I got that correctly. And I have Dr. Joy Allemanzung, who is equally involved with HeForShe. He will be telling us more about HeForShe. I know many people are doubting HeForShe. What does that actually mean? And we are still lacking somebody who will be joining us. That will be Miranda Oben, who is equally the CEO for the Returnees. So today we have a school of CEOs who are going to actually thrill us for 90 minutes this time, no more 1 hour, because 1 hour is always very short. Ladies and gentlemen, you are very much welcome to the Sompon Global TV. This day, the 8th of March 2021. Welcome to our studio. This is your platform. This is your space, so feel free and enjoy the 90 minutes that we're going to spend together. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Petula, yeah, you've once been here with me, and I could
Yes.
not hold myself having to have you again on stage with me. And today it is honor to the women, and you are there with a very broad smile. What is a Leap Girl for Africa all about? Let's begin with that, and then we will get into our program proper.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially with this edutainment that is always like very enriching. I learned so much after this. So Libya Africa is a non-profit organization that was founded in 2016. What we are doing is responding to gender-based violence and promoting girls' sexual reproductive health rights, and equally promoting girls' education. So we are mostly focused in Cameroon, but our work is reaching to sub-Saharan Africa through the mentoring program that we have. And equally, we are promoting girls in STEM, where we have been able to design an app to ensure that girls have access to education, be it online or offline. Thank you. So that's just a brief of what we do.
Thank you so much, Petula. We'll be coming back to you. You have listed quite a good number of things that fall squarely in what women actually are out for, especially today, that they want their voices to be heard. And we'll be coming back to you, Doctor. He for
Yes.
she. What is the meaning of he for she?
Yes, the HeForShe campaign is a United Nations campaign to mobilize leaders, especially like it says, HeForShe, men fighting for justice for women. So HeForShe campaign is an initiative of the United Nations Women group trying to mobilize leaders, mobilize men to join the fight for gender equality. And it is organized in national chapters. And in my case, I'm the HeForShe catalyst, or they call it the Botschafter program in German, ambassadors program. I'm in the program for the UN Women National Chapter in Germany. Thank
We
you.
have square pegs in square holes, and today we're talking about the Women's Day. And you are a man in an organization which is fighting for justice or seeking justice for the women, and you will actually be of great help to most women, notwithstanding Petula, who is working on gender violence, something that we find every day, and the women are actually fighting for rights or equality. I think this one is top on the agenda. Petula, today is Women's Day, and women are fighting for equality, and you have talked of gender violence, promoting girls' rights. What is the significance of this day to women?
All right. For me, it's simply just celebrating women, the significant progress that they have been able to make, and of course, recognizing the grassroots women and all the struggles that they do for us to be here. And this day is another important day to highlight the some history, some importance for the women that struggled went against odds to even get us to the progress that we are in today. Be the communities where they said girls cannot go to school bluntly, or where girls were mutilated. But now they are actually women. We fought for us to even reach the level that we are in, be it maybe the 20% or the 30% that we are at in different spheres, be it political, social, or even economic. So we are recognizing each other, celebrating each other, and strategizing on how to support each other. So this is just how I see the day.
Don't you think that it is one day for women to actually fight all that you have listed is too small?
Yeah,
We will not
but
hear them
it's
again.
not like
Maybe till next year
it's
again.
it's not till next year. So it's always better to like galvanize your action to uh this is like a time where we unite, a time where our voices are one, a time where we can all unite our work and say this we have been able to bring about this progress during this period of time. Or then our failures have been able to be this way, or our governments have not been able to be accountable at this level. So it's not just one day, we have a whole month and we have many other days, but then recognizing how significant we are and allocating a day for us is like a highlight of our moments in the 365 days that we have.
And you have 30 days or 31 days, like you have put it. But we see many women more interested in taking much alcohol, subjecting their men to cooking for them. And when they cook just for this one day, they become so happy and they feel like everything has been achieved. What is your take about that?
I think this is another day for us where it shows the work that we have to do, not only in fighting for gender equality, but of course on ourselves first, empowering ourselves and ensuring that we are up to the task to ensure that if those spaces are given to us, we'll be able to take it up. So we need to re-educate women, some women, on the significance of these days for them to revisit some of the things they do this day. What actually are they doing? Is it just limited to the alcohol or your husband treating you? If it's a personal decision for your husband to treat you on this day where he cooks, then it's fine. But it should not be limited to one day. This is exactly what we are trying to fight. This good or exchange of roles is still in a patriarchal society. We need to like change it for women to really see, oh, what why did they actually make this day? Let's we have to spread the information out there that this is not just a day for you to drink. A self-care moment will not hurt, but then if it's the Suleve Kaba that we do in Cameroon, then we'll be missing out.
We actually will be missing out, the women will be missing out if they are
Yes.
more involved in just celebrating this day, subjecting their husbands to do most of the household chores, because that's how some women really feel that they have celebrated the day so well. when they see their husbands in the kitchen, and you see some husband frying whole onions because they are not usually in the kitchen, and the thing sometimes gets so interesting, even though the food would not be good. Thank you so much, Petula. And can you tell us a bit some of the activities that your organization put aside on this special day, maybe to equally commemorate with women, to fellowship with women and the girls who are working alongside with you? What are some of the things you put together? I know you are here with us, you're supposed to be celebrating with them. So, what are some of those things that you put together to make them equally come together and make this day different, of course?
All right. So this day we celebrated like regionally because we are a member of the Generation Equality ACAS. So we came together this all this CEMAC region to celebrate the Women's Day and like see the progress that the government have our government and even civil societies have been able to do when it comes to the generation equality processes and implementation. And it was just a moment for self-care and another moment for us to discuss about work. But then at the level of our organization individually, we have this economic empowerment program where we give out micro grants to women to start up their businesses, especially women who have been affected by the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. So more so, we are also planning an online space to fight gender-based violence online. We all know what COVID-19 has done to us, how it has moved more people struggling to get online, struggling to get acquainted with the internet. But yet, you find that you are given a tool or you're giving a telephone to someone who can still be exposed to violence, especially for adolescent girls who don't know how to use social media, who don't even know how to report a post, or who can simply receive pornographic images online. So we'll be teaching them on how to stay safe online and how to report abuse online when they are in these spaces. So these are the activities that we have put out. As I said, every day is a Woman's Day, as someone is rightly saying. So the whole of this month is focused on us.
Thank you. Every day is a woman's day, and like you
Yeah.
say, everything is becoming so digital, and we need to teach our women, teach our children to be able to report gender-based violence online. I think we were here sometime with this gender violence topic, and you were so informative, and you spoke with so much passion. I could feel somebody expressing what she loves to do, and the message really went through. Thank you so much, Petula. It's always a pleasure when you are with us on board, and we always enjoy the time that we have together. And today is not going to be any different. I want to take Doctor. Doctor says he is a man fighting for women's rights. Women will be very happy to get you to talk to them. A word for the women first on this special Women's Day. Then we get to see how you do it for the women because they will really be so impatient already to get a word from you. Doctor,
Okay, a word to the women. I think I hope you can get me very well.
yeah, I'm getting you 5 on 5.
Audible enough. Okay, yes. A word to the women. I think one of the things I have to tell them is that please try to make sure you get the men involved in this fight for justice. I attended many conferences in the past, and most of the time, it's like you just have 2% men, if at all. And most of the time, the men who were there were those who were invited to speak. So please make sure you get men involved in this fight for justice, because injustice against women is an abuse of the human rights. So please do it. Talk to your brothers, talk to your husband, talk to your sons, sensitize them so that they will join us, they will join you in this fight for justice.
The women should be accompanied or they should let men accompany them. And that reminds me, Doctor, when this Women's Day material started coming out in most of the African continent, it was like a taboo to see a man putting on a Women's Day regalia or a loin. But after some few men came in and actually gave a push, and actually it became so interesting showing out a wife is beautifully dressed in a Women's Day cover, and the man has equally a shirt or an African design something. I see it's so powerful when the two go together. So, like you rightly said, the women should do everything humanly possible to get the men involved in their fight for equality. So, he for she, what are those activities that we put in place, especially for this day or for this month, to make sure that the women really find themselves belonging and knowing that people are there out there crying for them and feeling their pain? Because I know that Women's Day is celebrated just one day, but the pain women go through is felt, it is seen and noticed at each second of the day that passes. So, he for she, what are those activities that are put in place on this particular day, during this particular month, to make women know that they are not alone?
Yes. So we are supposed to promote the campaign that is carried out by the UN Women in Germany. And there are many activities going on. I will just mention two, which one is the generation equality that is going on within the framework of the International Women's Day, carried out by young activists trying to sensitize the society about injustice against women. And then the other one is with one enterprise here, SIT, a car rental, one of the biggest car rental companies we have here. They are working with the UN Women, which we are supporting, to fight against discrimination against women, and the focus is on violence against women, household violence, sexual violence, and those are some of the things we have taken as a topic for the International Women's Day. Going back to your question, it is one day, but we need a day like this to create awareness. Um, you will be surprised sometimes because we have many events, sensitization campaign going on today. Some men will hear through campaigns running today, people saying women earn far less than men. Even in Germany, you are surprised that averagely women earn about 20 to 30% less than men for the same job, the same function they carry out, and people are surprised. So a day like this gives us the opportunity to sensitize the society about the many things that are going wrong in the society which we are not aware of. And when this awareness will create the need to do something to close the gap, do something to create, to bring back justice. Because I'm very sure one thing we don't have to forget is that these women are our sisters, they are our mothers, they are our colleagues, they are our daughters, and you name them. So what affects them affect us. And we we have to try to understand what has been the cause, what is the cause of this injustice, looking at some of the structural problems. You mentioned a typical example we have, not only in African countries, but maybe it's very, very prominent there. Like say the man going into the kitchen, it should be something very normal. Um, Having the father preparing food for the children should not be something that should be strange to in our society. First, it helps you build your relationship to your children, being there for them, preparing food for them, serving them. And if I can remember very well, some of the United Nations Women Germany meeting which I attended, a presentation was done by the United Nations Women Iceland branch, and they presented studies to show that men that support their women at home, parents husbands that are supporting their women at home, they it helps to stabilize the home emotionally and also help to leave them healthy, happier. And these are things that people are not aware about. It is very common to think that when you say it, I just have the picture in my head. Sometimes when young boys they go to the kitchen, they send you out. They say this is the place of the women. Such stereotypes are destroying our society because we have to start training the boys, and we could use days like this to create a sensitization campaign to mobilize the young men. For me, I want to speak for men that we should do something. We should do something because it comes back to us. Um, it's not like we're at the end of the day we are not even doing it for the women. We are doing it for us, for the society, by making sure that we can have this justice. So this day we can use it for awareness. And I always ask myself recently, why am I here when I go to an event? So, what am I taking out of this event? Why am I here? I'm here because I want to learn. I'm here because this problem concerns me. It's a serious problem in the society. I'm here because I have daughters and I have a daughter and I have sons, and I need to take away which I can use at home now also to make sure I can talk to them and help them. And if I'm here, I can learn more to go and do that properly. So
I was
going
almost
back,
about
yes, going back
I was
to
about to go back to you when
yes,
you're only talking about women and not supporting men. Thank God you came to make me
yes,
happy when you said that.
that's all what this he for she is about. He for she, men for women. Because, like I
Okay,
mentioned, if you look at from Beijing, 1995, there have been development, but it is too slow. I'm happy that we have men participating in meetings today, not only as those who just come and talk, but listening. It tells me that we are making progress, but it is too slow because um, it it's like we abandon it. It's something for the women. It's not something for the women. It's something for the society. Our society has a problem when one gender, when the women are not treated equally as men. And it is so severe. If you look at the statistics, the violence against women, even now with the coronavirus pandemic, you realize that the minister of the women's minister of family and social affairs in Germany today was talking and saying that it's unfortunate that because women always are occupying low paid jobs. Now, if somebody has to stay at home with the children because schools are not open, there are those who have to. So you see, in every aspect, there are those who are discriminated, and it's not good. It comes back to
Doctor,
us.
I
We
will
have an
come back to
unhappy
you.
society.
Yeah, I will come back to you. Let me recognize the presence of Miranda Oben, who is joining us. Ma'am, thanks so much. I can understand the pressure you have as a mother, as a woman, to have abandoned all you have just to be here with us. We are so elated. We are grateful that you could create time to be with us. You're welcome to the studio, ma'am. Check your microphone. It might be muted.
Same thing. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to recognize you, Bunny, for a great job you're doing. The society is not only today you started, so I've seen what you've been doing the past year as well. Dr. Alimazon, good evening to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a he for she ambassador, and also good to see you, Ruth. Thank you all so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for creating time to be with us. You're on Some Point Global TV. This is your space, so feel at home. And I know that when you are always on board, it's usually power works. So thank you for coming. I will take Madam Oben, who is coming in, CEO of the Returnees, and she has been an inspiration to me. I follow her up on Facebook, and I see the things you're doing. Ma'am, you're welcome. We are celebrating
Thank you.
Women's Day. Happy Women's Day already to
Thank
you.
you
I
so
see
much.
no
And to all the
issue
women.
dressed in African, consuming Africa. I want to say that that is the spirit we have to make Africans know that we should consume what we produce and produce what we consume. Thank you so much. The
Pleasure,
returnees,
pleasure. I
what
just
do
believe,
we have in time
yes.
by
Well, the
the
returnees,
returnees?
already I heard you asking earlier on to the panelists as I was connecting and finishing off my work for the week. I just believe if I'm already in the during the week with suits on, going around as an IT manager with a computer, during the weekend, I want to be able to represent, or after work, I want to represent Africa because my heart beats for it and all that. And with this, I also say the made in Africa is what we should carry with us wherever we are, whenever we can. Now, the Returnees Project, which you asked, as earlier mentioned with the other, are we fighting just on this one day for the women's rights? No, no, no. It's every day of the year. It's not even a month. It's every day of the year, but I don't really use the word fighting for it. It's just recognizing the rights are there. And when we have the gentlemen already on board, it's just for other men to join us, like Dr. Allemanzung said, and make sure our voices are heard. Most of the women who are able to do the things they did today and they do today is because someone gave them the opportunity. So there are many young girls, many young women who can do a lot, not only us sitting here on the panel, but we have to be at a place where a man or a woman thinks that another woman is strong enough to take up a particular task. Now, the Returnees Project Incorporated, same name on Facebook, and the website, thereturnees54.com, fights for the African diaspora to see also the importance, recognize the importance of investing back home or returning back home. Now, we don't tell the diaspora to go back home. No, we say you can stay here, but in any way you can, support a project back home. So, what do? We mentor young entrepreneurs in their little businesses. I'll take you an example of one yesterday. He goes around the neighborhood, the whole city, the community, and cleans their water tanks. If you see a glass of water before he cleaned it and after, you realize that he's playing a role which is not only helping the community, but it's actually curbing diseases. So many of them would get sick if they continue drinking such water from these water tanks, which are maybe infested. But this is just his little initiative because he couldn't find work after university. So, what have we got to do? The diaspora should look at mentoring these young ones, investing in these young ones, trying to hold their hands as they implement their projects. Another thing we do is we try to look at those who have studied abroad and they return back to settle in their home countries, see how we can form a network amongst themselves in every domain, agriculture, health, IT, etc. And then see how they can be now that bridge between the diaspora and home, which means if we go home and we want to implement a project and we don't know where to go, we have now these returnees there. But for more information about the Returnees Project, I'll just say www.thereturnees54.com. We had started in Cameroon in 2016. And then we went to Nigeria in 2017, and then we touched Ghana in 2019. And this year, we're working at implementing this in Uganda. And on Saturday, I might say already, on Saturday, there was a meeting at the State House, and we have the presentation of the Returnees Project lying in front of the head of state of Uganda now. So we might just be moving there as the next step on the project. Thank you.
Quite an elaborate program there. And today we are looking at Women's Day and basing particularly on women's rights are human rights. We have introduced our panelists, we have gotten a word from them, and now we want to see how women's rights are human rights. Ma'am Oben, you're just coming in. When you hear of women's rights are human rights, does it make sense or it sounds absurd to you?
Well, I would say the foundation of humanity is the woman, right? So if you can give these women their rights, you're actually helping humanity. If women's rights are human rights, I say yes to it. If, first of all, you look at a woman as that foundation for humanity, that one who is the cradle of humanity, that one who carries the man. Because how did you come into this world if not birthed by a woman? The strength of a woman. If you can give her her rights, if you can make her see her rights, if you can make her see her worth, because that's what I do. All the women watching today and who will watch later, I urge you to Claim your worth. What Dr. Allemanzung said earlier on, we have to claim our rights, honestly. The man, like you said, Dr. Allemanzung, I think you gave a figure of about 20 to 30% less for the same job as the man. But if we accept it and we don't fight for it, it will stay like that. Nobody's going to change something that works. But if you realize you're uncomfortable, it starts with how you sell yourself, how you know your worth and your value. I might just say this is quite fresh. And Dr. Alemos, I didn't tell you this in the last discussion, or you, Mbolifor, as well, the last time we talked. But in my own position as an IT manager, the men usually get a little bit more than the women. In my case, they propose the same package as the man. Why? Because when I sat in the interview, I spoke from the heart. I spoke with women behind me. I didn't speak for Miranda OBEN. I spoke already in the conversations I was having, saying that I believe that if you gave me this job, this is what I will do for you. So I urge the women to accept and acknowledge their worth, because they do have their rights in the community, but they have to claim it. Because if they give you the right to do something and you don't perform as well as the man, then they are tempted to put it that way, like, well, okay, we'll give the men a little bit more than the women because they do perform better. But if a woman comes and she performs well, the next one comes and performs well, then you can fight for it. So I go back to what the panelist earlier said. I don't know if it was Ruth or someone said that earlier on, saying that now the women before us had already fought for us in a way. So we're actually on the shoulders of great women who had started this movement. All we need to do is continue. So your question of if women's rights are human rights, I say yes. We are the cradle of humanity. We bring forth life. So give us our rights and we will have an equilibrium in the community, in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Oben, for that submission. We say that human rights are standards that allow all people to live with dignity, freedom, equality, justice, and peace. And women's rights are human rights. Why do women keep crying? Is it that the men don't just cry, or are they equally maltreated or facing the same predicaments that women are facing? Maybe we should prepare and equally organize a men's day when we will have to cry out, because we may not have this day and women think that all is well with us. Madam Oben.
Well, to be honest, everybody sees that really it is true that it's a patriarchal world, right? If you look at the ratio of how many heads of states we have as men versus how many heads of states we have as women, you see there's a huge demarcation. Why? It's not because the women can't make it, they can, but the society has been formed in a way that the men will still keep having more of those leadership positions. Why are we celebrating the first ever vice president of the United States of America in 2021, the first female vice president in 2021? What has been happening all these years? Like, it's a question to all of us, those watching us on the panel. The women are equally good, so why do we not make room for these women? Like the word I mentioned earlier on is opportunity. Yesterday we had on the Returnees Project to celebrate as on the eve of the International Women's Day, we had 40 women connected on a Zoom live conference. Now I'm talking Luxembourg, France, Germany, the UK, Nigeria, Cameroon, the USA, Canada. All these women were connected. The video is available on the Returnees Project Incorporated Facebook page to watch. We all came together because we still believe that if you only gave us, if society only gave us, if the system only gave us the opportunity to be able to bring our voices forth, bring our quality forth, hold each other and rise, and give that woman a chance to do what she can in whatever job it is you think you believe she can perform. Just give her that opportunity, she'll be able to do it. So I believe the reason that the society or the system has already been formed such that you're used to having the man in particular positions makes it a little bit, those who will be the first to really there, like, you had a lot of people also congratulate Joe Biden for choosing to have a woman as a VP, because that's a choice he made. If he hadn't put forth that opportunity, we will all sit here and there is no celebration going on in the world. So from the man's part, I'll start with the system. The system is built in a structural way to favor the man when it comes to leadership. For some reason, I also think also biologically, it is more stable when the man is in most leadership positions. Because if I'm thinking also of an array of women in leadership positions, at some point, biologically, the woman will go away and come back to the job. So the stability will not be there. But the system is really there in place for the man to hold positions of leadership. It's usual. That's the system. Secondly, the men are used to being in the position of leadership. So they think it is their peers who are best placed to have a particular job, which means when they go out to get a person in a position of leadership, they think man first because they believe it will be stable or they already used to. Now, the women on their part are true enough used to seeing the men in those positions, but the women are waking up. They're realizing more and more if you don't put our voices out there, it will stay the same. If you don't seize the opportunity. Now, if you get recommended for a position, don't think, well, I'm a woman. They're just men on all that managerial board. How am I going to go sit there? What will I say? Won't I be shy? No. I put on my suit. I put on my shirt. When I sit on that board, I don't care if there are 20 men. I don't look at gender. I look at what work has to be done and get it done. I think of the young girl also growing up, because one thing we had at this conference yesterday is for the young girl growing up, who should she follow offline and online? As you know, the social media space is so packed with, you just don't even know where to sort it out. You get scared when a little girl of about 13 or 14 goes on social media because she should go at 18. Even at 18, she's not that grown up to know what to do. So we put out role models who you can follow. So if this woman is doing something, she has got the right pattern for you to follow. So again, to the leadership position, the system is patriarchal. The men are used to having men in certain positions. The women might not be given the opportunity. One or two might not seize the opportunity when you see it. So my message to the women is be humble. Don't cry equality. Leave the word for a moment to rest. Just be humble, but yet prove what you can do. Be humble, but put your quality out there. The word is not crying foul, it is showing your worth. I'm not going to be saying, oh, no, he did this and that wasn't good. The system is not good. No, show them you are good or even twice as good, and you will get the chance to prove your worth. But then there are bodies who fight for women's rights, girls' rights. So if you get unfairly treated in any situation, report it. Report these cases. Be bold enough to talk about what happened and why you think you deserve a position. And if that position belongs to you and you were unrightly treated, unjustly treated, the system will have to bow to you. The men will have to listen to you. Other women will look up to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Oben. You say we look at work to be done and not gender, and that the system is patriarchal, as you put it, and that women should not always cry, but that they should be humble and not cry for inequality. And equally, they should not cry foul, but show their worth. I think these are some of the statements I could gather from your submission, and I think that the women who are listening to us, who are watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube, are actually being motivated and to know equally that they should stop the blame game and stop crying, but try to do something, try to show their worth. And maybe you take this question before I take Doctor or Petula. How do you work with men, let's say in your organization? Do you find it very fluid? Do you pay them less now since you are the one up? How do you manage them to put the skill actually on the balance?
That's a good question. I know you just wanted to have me laugh or smile a little bit, but no, I have never ever been able to be unjust, not because it's a man, but I believe in remunerating quality, whether you're male, female, or I don't know what, but I will pay you for the quality of work you deserve. So if you're a woman and you deserve that amount of money, you get it. If you're a man, you get it as well, right? So one thing I'll say to everyone watching is I separate the two worlds. There are two worlds. First, there is my IT world, which is very important to separate. In the corporate world, of course, with a clearly defined structure, if I have a say, again, I look at the qualifications. So in everything you do as an IT manager, for example, which is the European IT manager role I'm picking up from the 1st of April, but let me put it in my roles until today. What I look at is if there is something to be done, who is best placed to do it? So I check the team I have, then I check the quality of work they can deliver. I check the availability, then I check for how long they'll have to do it. I do also the risk management, or better put, risk mitigation. I don't want to get to a position where it gets really bad and I try to manage the crisis. So I do risk mitigation. So there's a lot of communication, a lot of know-how, looking at the people in particular, and then I try to know the people a little bit privately as well. It helps a lot in my job. So I don't only focus on your professional skills, I also try to see behind the scenes who this person is, right? Now, when it comes to remunerating on the Returnees Project, anybody who gets work done gets what goes with it. And come to think of it, I actually want to tell you that from when we started the Returnees Project until 2020, we were working strictly on voluntary service. So these were people serving the nation, serving the African continent. It is only until 2020 that we started getting, let me put it, not, I wouldn't say pay, so it's not like a salary, but you get remunerated for what you do. And in 2020, as we go on, it's got better and better. So I would see what skills you have, be it a man or a woman or whoever is doing the job, and then get you to receive the amount of money which goes to the work you did. But someday, I believe that when we get to a position where we could see the brother or sister as the place to go to, we would stop. I don't want to put something wrong because I don't want to blame the governments, but I'll come back to this. But see the value in people. That's how I can wrap this up. See the value in people and get exchange. If you cannot exchange in with monetary value, exchange with services, but always give back some way of compensation for something done. So I would not pay the man less. To answer your question, I will pay him to the amount he deserves for the service he puts forth. And I salute my team at this moment here. The quality they deliver gets us on these platforms. Thank you.
The men will be paid the same or a level of what they deliver to a service to you, which is so important because sometimes the salaries are given. Maybe you look from your look, somebody determines your salary, not looking at what you actually deliver, and that is very bad. Doctor, let me take you. You look at you fighting a man fighting for the rights of women, and we know that some of these gender violence that we actually are talking about sometimes it's actually out of ignorance, and you talked of awareness. So what are some of those examples, maybe of regional, national, or global initiatives that fight for the rights of women, and what exactly do they do, since you are very versed with that aspect?
Well, you have United Nations programs, especially that of the UN Women. You have at the African Union level, you have initiatives going on. You have the, I think I have it here, the African Union Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Strategy from 2018 to 2028. And you have also country programs. You have a country like Rwanda. They have a gender monitoring office to make sure that companies employ their workers based on competence and not based on whether they are women or men. And looking at this, women rights are human rights. I think when you look at what do we have to implement, you have to look at the aspects of women's right being human right. You asked the question. I would like to go back to it before I continue with some of the actions going on, because human rights provides a legal framework within which countries, institutions have to act. With the rights in place, we have a legal backing to enforce those rights. And when we say human rights, women rights are human rights, it is very important to note that going back, still trying to stay within the framework of actions going on, we have the Agenda 2030 with the 17 development goals. And goal number 5 is gender equality. With goal number 5, the United Nations want countries to make sure that they can promote gender equality in every aspect of life. And that provides a kind of a political framework to make sure that we can enforce this goal. The human rights laws supporting the goals include, for example, elimination of all forms of discrimination against women. That is the International Convention of the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. The right to decide the number of spacing of children, still under the International Convention. Special protection for mothers and children. This one is the International Convention on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. So the moment we are aware of this and nation and states put this within the framework of their of the implementations of actions in place to safeguard gender equality, you can always go back to these laws to make sure that you can enforce them. If these laws are not there, then we will not have the means to sanction those who don't respect them. So I think there are a lot of actions going on, and what we have to do is to make sure that we create this awareness. But now, I said at the beginning that it is very important to ask, why are we here? So if there are so many actions going on, how does this action concern me? We have talked about the different their actions trying to sensitize governments on trying to reduce the gender pay gap. It is it's everywhere. How come? Going back to what Mrs. Oben said concerning demanding it. Now, the rights are very important, because if it is a structural problem, you demand it, you will come in conflict with the structure, with the system. It will not, you will not go through. But if there are legal, there are laws protecting it, then you can make it. So that's why those human rights provide this legal framework to use to get your rights, the rights that you deserve, the right that is allocated to you as a human, whether man or woman. So like I said, there are a lot of actions going on, but for me, I would like us to look at what am I doing? If you take Pertulla, that those are good examples. And those who are listening today, the one who is listening as a father, what are you saying to your son? What are you saying to your daughter? You have to empower your daughter. You have to sensitize your son. And we have a lot of we are celebrating Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the first woman holding a position like that. At the same time, if we look at the situation in Africa, I try to look at some of the statistics of 2019, you realize that 52 million of girls in Africa who are supposed to be in schools, they are not attending school now, based on the structural and cultural situation. And 4 million of them are already in a situation that they will never step into a classroom. Now, if you are not educated, how do you want to hold a leadership position? So we have to make sure that we educate the girl child. We have to close this gap. The relationship between boys not going to school and girls not going to school, boys who will never go to school according to these statistics, and girls who will never go to school, is 4 million to 2 million. 4 million girls and 2 million boys. Now, if you don't have knowledge, how do you want to lead? So we already have a structural barrier creating or augmenting this inequality. And that is why we have to do something to close that gap. Now, there is also our social system. If you look at how we are brought up, already assigning tasks to children, to boys and girls. You have to, the kitchen is only for the girls. I said this earlier. That is already an unconscious socialization process going on, attributing roles to us. And we grow up to know that when we have to see only a man talking as the president on the television, it is wrong. Children see that and they assume that it is how it should be. And then the aspect of partnership is also very important. That is why this HeForShe program is so important. My hope is that even within companies, you institute HeForShe programs to help mobilize men for the fight. Because if Kamala Harris, as Mira said, if she was so assertive, intelligent, and Joe Biden was not ready to appoint her, it will still not work. So it is a partnership. We have to realize that, and I don't doubt it. I've been the chairman of many organizations, and it was so successful whenever we had parity, vice president, chairman, vice president, a woman, or the other way around. It is stable because you always need a balanced perspective, the man's perspective, the woman's perspective, and the society has both. So if these two are brought together, it will be balanced and things will work well because decisions will be made which incorporates the different perspectives which are all imperative in the decision making.
Yes,
Thank you so much,
definitely.
Doctor. You see, all should be brought to the table so that they will be able to make take decisions together. And I want to get to this point on Pertulla. You know that when women are involved in peace processes, of course, like
Are you getting the same problem with the sound?
to
Yeah,
make
I can't hear
a
you.
peace agreement to last longer. In your organization, how do you
Can barely hear you.
with an echo in the background and really making the sound not very palliative? Okay, I think it's getting much stable. If you have noise in the background, you just mute your microphone. Okay. Yeah, I think it's much stable now. You said that when you took off even from your very first submission, you said that you were men supporting the rights of women, and that in most occasions that are organized by women, the ratio of men is always like one man is to five women, if I put it that way. To say that the men who are there, like you put it, are just those who are invited to do some presentation. And we are seeing that the women are going through a fight that they need to be heavily manned and supported by the men, and they are keeping them aside and cry foul again that these men are suppressing them. So I wanted to ask, I wish to ask Pertulla, how do you manage peace issues at the level of your organization? We take it in a global sphere to want to think that women are very much gifted in bringing peace, in solving, in resolving issues, or in bringing, looking for a compromise in handling issues. How do you do that in your Leap Girl Africa? Because I know where there are many girls, problems too abound.
All right. Where there are many girls, problems abound. Okay. That is exactly the mentality that we want to change because they're always paraphrasing women in that sentence that where there is a woman's problem is another woman's problem. as Madam Miranda was saying, is about your word. Normally, women are placed like as peace builders, just as peacemakers. But then, in the real peacemaking processes, there are few women who are there. So it's about actually recognizing that women cannot just be limited at that level of peace in the family, or when things get bad, you're reaching out to women that, okay, please, we need your help at this level. Talk to your children, talk to your fellow women, talk to your fellow men. And we are like, where were we when you were actually making all the first steps? Did you consult us? So it's about still reaching out to women. How do you actually acknowledge that women can make it in the peace management processes? Just not peace, looking at peace like in the big picture, looking at it just from a small level of families, for it to be able to mount out to the higher level. But then we still need to recognize that women, if women, or we don't build a community or society that is not conducive for women, then they will not be able to give out peace. You cannot give out what you don't have. So ensuring that women have peace within themselves first, to be able to give out that peace in the community, is very important. And we also need to ensure that women grow interest in some of these domains. Like we keep saying, okay, we are meant for this domain, or men recognize us for this domain. But then when you tell some women that get into politics, me for one, sometimes when you tell me that get into politics, I'm just like, I still need to think about it. That is exactly some of the issues that women face. It's not like we don't want to get into it, but the interest is not there because of the many uh, histories or issues that women have gotten in the process. So I would just say communities should be built at the level where women have peace within themselves to be able to give out the peace that they have in them.
Women's rights are human rights, and we want to see confirm the assertion that when a woman is first positioned in trying to bring peace, usually lasts for long. Mrs. Oben, what is your take about that statement?
Yeah, indeed.
And when women are involved in the peace process usually lasts longer. And maybe I continue further to ask you, do you think that most of the problems we have persisting in most of our African continent can actually be that the women are not being considered, the women are not being, regarded as people who can really bring this peace? Because we are seeing that from the house, once the mother is very okay, once the woman is okay, once her psyche is okay, once she's happy, and once she decides that there will be peace in this house, no matter what it takes, there will be peace. What do you think about this statement?
Your
Okay.
microphone.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
they muted it. We didn't want an interference in the sound, right? So I hope there's no echo right now. It changed with the headset. I'll start before I get into the peace question. I'll just go back to what Dr. Allemanzung said, quoting what I said. With the
Yeah.
system in place, sometimes you want to, you have your value. You really want to bring this change, but you will not be able to change it because the policies are there and everything. The change I meant, actually, Dr. Alemazon, is starting by when you identify that, because that change is a hurdle, it's a barrier. So I'm not talking to you and it's your accord that you decide, okay, no, she has the value, I'll give her. No, I started with the system, which is at the top. If we start from there and identify it, then you'll be able to make the change at the system before the people, now the gentleman or the structure, and then down to the women. So it was in 3 steps. And then you're right, Dr. Alemazon. If we start by what we do with the boy child and the girl child, how we bring them up, how we train them, that's already the society of tomorrow. That's the children of tomorrow. That's how they will regard a woman. I'll give you an example before I get to the piece. I have an astronaut hat here made by my son. When he brought it up back from school, I wanted to try on the astronaut hat. You wear it on and you take a picture. He said, "Oh, mommy," he chuckled. He's like, "But you can't be an astronaut." I was surprised. I thought the hat was too small for me. No, he said, because I'm a woman. He's 9. He doesn't really identify with the fact that because his group of friends who were boys who made that astronaut hat, they gave them pictures, and I went through those pictures, and the examples of the pictures were all male. So the child got the education of what astronauts do, but the child also silently heard that astronauts were mainly fundamentally women. The more, like you said, you see women in these roles, the more the boy child will grow up and the girl child, there's that equilibrium in the community. So the moment they think that a woman cannot be this, they also grow up not really seeing her equal. So if we start from the education, from the base, it will work. Same as Pertulla also said, when they go into the communities and working with the women and trying to make sure that these boundaries you put on the women is one of the things that hold us down. If you think, oh, it's a woman, so they will do this, you know them, they will do that. That's what actually affirms and makes the women keep thinking, well, they're women, they'll quarrel anyways. Well, they're women, it won't work anyways. But if you tell the women that, you can do it, try to resolve conflict by doing this, bring the solution, not bringing them stereotypes, which are already in the community. Break loose from that. If we say the theme this year is choose to challenge the fact that you've given women so many stereotypes that without even knowing it, they start fitting into it. They start actually instead bring the solution to such a situation when you see that, oh, this is going out of hand, because don't say, oh, because it's women, it will happen. Because it's women, there'll be a problem. So go out of that. I just wanted to agree and then also add something to what the two speakers earlier on said. Now, when it comes to peace, yes, peace comes from within. Fundamentally, biologically as well, a woman carries a lot from inside. You've seen a recent rise of the number of men who will, thank you, Chair for Clinton, who will kill their wives or girlfriends just because of something which they couldn't, handle, or emotions which they couldn't handle. But how many women have had their hearts broken out there, or things not going their way, but they struggle from within? There is a volcano, but they can find peace. But a man now, yes, he would want the peace. Yes, he can go about it the male way. Dr. Allemanzung said earlier on that, yeah, in some situations like that, you want to have maybe like a president and then a vice will be female. So we want to have that gender mix in many structures. The moment we have a gender mix in many structures, it starts from the home. Societies are built from the first society is the home, the family. It's the man and the woman. So if you build a home properly, you will bring the neighborhood properly and the city properly, the nation, the world at large. So for these peace, let me say, discussions to go on well, we need both sides of it. We need the man's strong way of seeing things. We need the woman's soft way of going into it. So it starts again from the system, how it is built from top down. The system, then the homes, and all the way down to how the men accept the women in the communities. Your question of if women were in these discussions, would there be more peace? Would we not even get to a situation that we have to be struggling to resolve? I believe the more women you bring into such situations early enough, like Pertulla said, early enough. Don't bring us when it's already burning down and then we have to be firefighters. No. Put us there, give us the value, listen to us. Sometimes the women also don't feel heard. That's something I would say. If you listen, just listen to them. You might not take everything a woman says, because I know our sisters, some can really talk, but listen and pick what would help the whole structure, the whole community, the whole home. There are some homes where somebody will be like, she's just going to talk and talk and talk. Let her talk. Pick what you need from it. Just like in the meeting boards as well, maybe the men will be thinking, if women were here, they'll talk and talk and talk. No, pick what is important from there and then groom the women. You're the grooms when you get married, right? Why are you the grooms? You groom the women. You're not grooms because there's a word for the man who is getting married to be a groom. You have to groom the women. You groom the home. She becomes your bride. She's not the groom. But then together, as you can make it work at home, you'll make it work in the community and at large. So peace, your word again, Mbolifor, would be much better, or in any of the conflict resolution of or any situation where you had to match in there to talk peace, bring the women in. Bring them early enough. But last, the last thing you want is to just have the man think. We've
Miss
seen
Oben,
it. Go ahead, Bonifor. Oh, he's lost the connection. But anyways, while he's gone, Petula, maybe you want to add something to what I just said, or Dr. Alemazong. I'll just play the moderator till he's back. Dr. Alemazong, you first. Talking peace now first.
Yes, I understand. I would like to look at the example of Rwanda.
Mhm.
When we look at the reconciliation process that took part there, women played a decisive role. And because to achieve peace after conflict, you need a forgiving heart. And many of them who suffered from those young, violent uh, men who attacked them, killed their families, were ready to forgive uh, the men. And they were so much um, involved in the peace process, which until date is seen as a successful peace process because of the role that women played. And since then, they have been active in the development, in the political development of the country. Rwanda is now the leading country in the world with most women in the parliament. I think we have over 60% of women as parliamentarians in the country. Um, and in many areas, in things that they are doing, the state is trying to make sure that there is this balance. So when I think of peace process, if you look at even at home, go back to our cultures at home when the father is so angry and sometimes disappointed with the child and there is violence, it's always the mother that is talking calm. And so that's why I think that even in this equality discussion, we also have to look at the complementary roles we play. So because there are certain things that women are so good at, they are far better than men. In some other areas, maybe men, that we try to uh, uh, um, supplement one another, complement one another,
Compliment.
complement one another. So for me, it's not only about gender equality, but about how we can complement one another to make sure that we have a stable society. And there is a point which I also want to make. I think it's a bit away from the question of peace, but it goes back to what you were saying. Of course, if the laws are there and we don't have the self-confidence, we don't have the the motivation, we will still not make use of those things because there are still many laws, yet we still have gender inequality in many aspects, which is covered by the, according to the law, it shouldn't happen. Now, what I have experienced, that is why this one now is like an appeal to the women. Going back to what you said, you have to go for it, you have to be sure, be confident. What I experienced in the past years shocked me also. And I think that's why I would like to make this appeal to women. Um, when you ask a man to do something, I'm talking about the times that we have to allocate contracts or give people assignment to do, and we pay them from our government, from government projects, which I used to run in Baden-Württemberg and Bavarian states here. You realize that when I am looking for somebody to assign project and I put a call for tender, sometimes because I don't have time, I contact people. I say, can you do this? Can you do that? And I noticed that when I ask men, can you do this? They say yes before asking what it is all about. And then sometimes in one case, which I will never forget, I attended a HeForShe program with the United Nations Women in Bonn. And one lady who was sitting next to me was doing the translation to one of the ambassadors there, from German to English. And then if the speaker was speaking in English, she did the translation the other way around. So after the discussion we had, we exchanged contacts, and she is so active in the UN Women movement in Bonn. So we're doing another meeting with Rwandan government, with representative of the German government, ministries, which I was organizing in Munich. And I thought I have African government representatives who are speaking English, and this lady did it so well, I should call her to come and do it. When I called, she said, "Are you sure I can do it?" I just want to let you know that women are always like that. I've experienced it a lot. And then I just thought of one young man that I asked him to do something. He was not even able, he first said yes before asking what it is all about. What happened is that I had to hire another translator. He came, but this lady also came, but finally did the translation completely. But I had hired somebody else and had to pay the person. But because she started, because in that translation, she was meeting with those Africans. She was like one of them. She's what I appreciated about her is that she was so human, if I can put it like that. It's not just being professional, and she
That's
met
right.
them at a human level, and
That's
that
it.
that was very appealing to those African representatives.
That's it.
Meanwhile, the other person was like it was like too dry,
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
empty, just
Yeah.
translation.
Yeah.
So I gave that as an example. I said this is what I experienced with women. They that something that they are capable. They ask you, "Are you sure I can do it?"
Yeah.
Mhm. With the young man, he just says yes before one asking you, "But what is it all about?" And then he will go and try to struggle to see if he can be able to do it. So it is my appeal to women: be confident. Be confident. When I left that meeting and I was
Explain in
talking to
fast
one
one
of
minute.
the Secretary of States from the
Can
Bavarian
somebody get
political
me?
party,
It's like my internet line
the
is
woman, I was telling,
not very
No,
stable.
we hear you, Mbonifoy. No, we
yeah,
hear you
we are
now.
getting you.
We hear you now.
So I was
Oh,
saying
so
that
again.
women need a certain level of aggressiveness, positive aggressiveness, to get what they deserve, to get what is theirs. Because it is in such a way that if they don't turn to be a bit aggressive, they will never get it because they are already far behind now. So that
That's
is
it.
one of the things that I hope women should try to do, to be self-confident, to go for what you think is yours, and stop doubting, and also to learn to support other women, because unfortunately from examples we had in that meeting, you realize that women standing who were standing for leadership positions were not voted by women. So there are a lot of other challenges we are facing that women have to learn to also, they do it certainly, but they have to do it more. If you have a woman standing for a position, support your own. So
Right.
these are experiences that I've had, which is I used to think we have to find a way to overcome this, and we have to look at our socialization. You mentioned the first unit of the society, the family. Okay, after the child begins at home as a little child, gets to the school, join clubs, football clubs, and other stuff, and so the socialization process begins at home. He comes home, he puts an astronaut cap together, and you explain to him it's for men and women. You take some of
Yes.
those great American heroes who are ladies who have been to space and back. You show him, he goes back to school, he explains to the others, and then they become aware of that. The next time, they will not think like that. It starts from the house. It's the socialization process, and we at
Yes.
the beginning of the chain, as parents, as families, we start that teaching at home, because
That's it.
it is like changing the picture. This picture of this is what the man does, this is what the woman does, we have to change it.
Right. So thank you.
We were
I
trying
think
to
I
just
can
get
go first.
along since we lost you.
Mbonifoy was wasn't there, so we went along, and I asked the question of peace to Dr. Allemanzung. Pertulla, I really want to hear your impression on that peace topic before Mbolifor carries on. Yeah, with the moderation.
Oh, I'll really be brief. I would just say we need to recognize that women are struggling. We need to recognize that the environment is shaping women. And we all know that when you grow up in a particular environment, you tend to behave the way this in the setting that you found yourself in. So it's not an easy struggle. Of course, at some point when women get to a level, you need to start deconstructing what has been built over the years and turning to tell them the other what another person had put in them is really difficult, because then you become like, the angry feminist, or the rebellious one. And as Doug rightly said, at some point we need to be rebellious, we need to be aggressive, not in a negative way, but putting it out there that, oh, do you actually know you have been like brainwashed? What you're getting into, you can be exposed to many other opportunities if you just decide to put yourself out there. Because you're talking about leadership, you're talking about peace, still the same thing. Sometimes when you find yourself in the space and they say who is going to lead the group, automatically, if there's one man in the group, everyone is going to turn and look at that man, expecting him to put up the hand and say, oh, I'm the one who is going to pick up the role. And this is not because women really want that. It's just because we have not been taught. It's just because our communities, our environment has placed us there. We are respecting the values that they give in us. What if we showed women the other way for them to embrace it? And then they'll be able to take up whatever role that we want them to take up. Peace. Is it peace building that you want women to lead? Then you have it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pertulla. That's the word I'll summarize from what you and Dr. Allemanzung have said is, Dr. Allemanzung, you're right, women are cautious. They're cautious when they have to take up a role. They're afraid, if I go and do it and I don't succeed, and the man is like, I'll do it, you know. So the women are more cautious. But then when it comes to what Pertulla also said, yes, I say the more women you see in those roles, instead of telling them that you can do it, show them those who have done it before. Like the astronaut example again, which is following us. I opened the internet. You feel like you were next to me, Dr. Allemanzung. I Googled female astronauts. I had to show him that I can be an astronaut so I could try on his hat. And I saw these ladies here. I saw an example with a Black lady, Mae Jemison, and I showed him that, look here, mommy can be an astronaut. Mommy can be. Then he saw so many pictures of female astronauts. Then I sent it back to school for them to show them in the class. And he showed them, like, his mama can also be an astronaut. The society, like you're saying, has to be intertwined with the kids, the moms, the dads, just the way the home is. The problem is that when we go out of the door, it starts structuring us and putting us in boxes. And that's why yesterday, the conference we had, it was a Women's Day, like Eve of Women's Day conference, 7th of March, with all these women around the world. We had men, 11, well, actually there were 12, but 11 came, 11 men on the call with 40 women and a little boy of 13. That little boy had a chance to interview somebody during the live event. So if you take the kids along, the boy child, the girl child, the mom and the dad, along in these conferences and these mixes, and then show them role models. This word actually is from credit given to you, Dr. Allemanzung. There was a conference we had long ago in Germany, and the word you used is you defined who a role model is. That marked me. I don't say this often, but when I hear something somewhere and I keep realizing that sometimes you don't go laboring the topic of women, you should actually do this. How about you try that? How about you try this? What about show them those who have gone before them and done it? It has a way of, in the human brain, keep sticking. You don't tell them to do it. You show them how it's done. You show them it's already done. It has a way of spurring that inner instinct in them to believe that they can. They will believe in themselves the more they see people doing the things they wish they would do. More female journalists who are from Africa and Germany, I can do it. More female medical doctors who are from Africa, I can do it. More female IT engineers in Germany. The little girl is not, you're not telling her, you know what, tomorrow you'll be able to do this. No, you're showing her examples of people who are already doing it. And in herself, she actually gets the idea of, hey, I also want to be like. But then you make her understand in her uniqueness, she should follow her path. What role models do is make you believe in yourself that you can achieve. Just follow your dreams, never give up, but then you can achieve. Surround yourself with the right people as a woman, as a man, as a child.
Yes.
You will
I would
definitely
like to,
get it.
I would
Dr.
like to
Allemanzung,
I would like to add a point to that because
mhm.
showing with role models, um, staying at the level of teaching our children, teaching the younger generation, because that's very important for us now. Um, Image and sound. The image they see, it remains. We should not forget imagination. You imagine yourself in the role of Kamala Harris. You imagine yourself in the position of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and imagination, it comes from image. They see the image and it stays. They see the young girl at home, sees the young engineer, sees the young astronaut who is a lady.
Yeah.
I can be that. That image stays. That imagination is built in her. So that's why I think that's a good example.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, what are we taking away today? What are we taking out of this? Because I think each one of us should go back and make a decision to do something to support this cause. And in the aspect of teaching for mostly parents, using pictures, role model will help a lot. If you image and imagination, so they should imagine themselves as leaders from the image of female leaders that they have seen. Imagine themselves as doctors, as presidents, as chancellor, because they have seen the image of the German chancellor. Imagine themselves as a leader of the World Trade Organization, because they have seen the image of a female World Trade Organization director. So image and imagination is very important in teaching. So I think we're having some technical problems here. Yes.
While we're having the technical problems, I just thought let me show you all the astronaut hat, since we've mentioned it a lot today, right? And that is
Wonderful.
it again. From anything you see, like you said, imagination and moving there. So the take-home message is, for me, a society which has each, like the man recognizing that the women can and giving the women the opportunities, for me, and then for the women, you might be scared at first, but if you believe in something you want to do, don't let fear hold you back. Because sometimes it's the fear of failure, sometimes the fear of not making it, but go out there, be bold, try to do it, right? So step out of your comfort zone, think about what is in your heart, because most often when a dream is placed in your heart, or a vision or a particular path, it's because internally already you can make it. The moment you always think, I can do it, step out and try. A great man once told me, you do not live in yesterday. You do not live in tomorrow. You live in today. Today is usually called the present because it's a gift. It's really a present. And from the day he told me, I looked at it and I was like, I've not met many great men. I didn't meet Mandela, but I've met great men in my community. And this man marked me in a very special way. You don't live in yesterday. You don't live in tomorrow. We are here today. So today is the present. Grab the opportunity, you woman listening to me. What is that thing you want to do? What is that message you want to pass out? What is the purpose you have in this world? What is holding you back? Break those bridges of fear. Keep it aside. You do not live in yesterday. Leave the past mistakes. Start afresh. This is a new day. It is the present. It is a present as well. and you don't live in tomorrow. You live in the now. Break away the fear. Break away the naysayers. Stick to positivity and follow your heart, follow your dreams. Start. That's the key word. Start to do what you want to do. Recognize your worth, recognize your value, and go for it. In any community where you think is very patriarchal, there are more men than women. Maybe your voice is the voice we need. In any situation, you can educate a child, pass that message on. The teachers do what they can, but the parents are the ones who know the kids best. Start with the young girl and young boy because that's going to be the mayor of tomorrow, the president tomorrow, the teachers tomorrow. So you're building the society with your children at home. They're not only your children. Tomorrow they'll go out into the world and they have to achieve, they have to pass on their own values. You have the power right now to change the community with those little ones at home with you. Pass on the message of equal. Let the boys cook also. Let them also do the things girls do. And let the girls also try out what they want to do. Let them be free spirited and give them courage. It is usually said that what? When you're small, when children are small, give them roots. Because when they grow tomorrow, they will use now wings to fly. So it is the time now to give roots to the children so that the girl child of tomorrow, who will be the woman, as we're celebrating the International Women's Day today, look at women in leadership, look at women in entrepreneurship. I said, don't try to fight the men because women go out like, oh, we want to be equal. No, show them what you can do. And they will actually lend out the hand to you. They will invite you into these circles. It will not be a day's job. No, don't get me wrong. They will not happily just open the door and change it from a patriarchal community. No, but step by step, ladies, let's do this step by step. Wherever you can, grab the opportunity. So that's my general message for everyone. The moderator is having problems with the connection, and we know we're already winding down. So I'll
Yes.
let you, Pertulla and Joy, say something to wrap up, and then we'll all close. Joy, you
Pertulla.
first, and then I'll go. Oh no, Pertulla, then ladies first. I was going to come and wrap it up in a ladies' way, but let's go with more ladies first. Pertulla.
All right. Thank you so much. I really learned a lot today, and exchanging more like this is why this day was actually made for us to re-strategize, as I said earlier. So I would say, as take-home message, just tell women it's okay to ask for help. When you don't know something, it's okay to ask for help. We all fail at some point, but how do we get up there? And it's okay to learn, research. Women should not be at that level of simply putting things out there in the middle level. Let's level up. Let's do our research well, so that when those positions actually come to us, it's not as if we are begging for it. We are not begging for it. We are demanding that we have to be there, but then it should not be given to us because they just need to fill the roles, or they just need to take that 50%, 50 on 50 in politics. It actually has to be deserved, and it has to be well done when we are in those positions, to shame the patriarchal system, to shame the stereotypes that were given to us. So happy Women's Day.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Network played a very fast part on me. I, I wanted that I should give up, but giving up is never an option. And like
Yes.
things will work for me better, I am on at the last minute to conclude, of course. Want to thank you, all of you, for having kept the talk going on. And happy Women's Day once again to you two who are with us in the studio, and to the gentleman, Doctor, for having really made us proud to be fighting equally for the women. And we say that women should be humble, they should not only cry foul, but equally show their worth. And that
Yes.
the women should socialize, work hand in gloves, so that each and every one of the women can go together. They say that do not follow me because I may not lead, do not go ahead of me because I may not follow you, but let's move together so that we can make things work better for ourselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank all of you so much.
While
One
you were
artist
having
who we
some
thought was
while
going
you were having some
much,
technical
but
problems, we tried
it
to
is
continue as much as we could. Miranda was trying to coordinate the
that is
moderation,
good. That is good.
and I don't know, just to give you an update, we were just rounding up since we realized that the time was up, and Pertulla just did her
Yeah.
part, and then I was about to start when your line got connected again. So,
Thank you so much. We are
I
rounding
could
up,
just do
and
it if it's
an
okay.
applause for all of you for having kept the woman happy, the women happy, of course, and we are earning and going home so happy, of course. Men have to work with the women, and women
Mr.
too
Mbolifor, can
to
you
try
hear
to
us?
involve
Mr.
men
Mbolifor, can
in
you
the
hear me?
activity.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, just a second. Let Mr. Dr.
Yes, I
Joy
can get you.
Alemazong,
I
yeah,
was
let
doing
Dr.
my
Joy
rounding up.
Alemazong do his final remarks, and then we will wrap up. When you came in, I was trying to coordinate this a little bit. So Pertulla already gave her final remarks. We'll wait for Dr. Alemazong to give his final remarks, and then we're good for today. Yeah. So Dr. Alemazong, if you can please just kindly give us your final remarks, that would be
Okay.
great. And then the moderator will conclude.
Thank you so much. So, I just want to say that we should take what some of the takeaways, in addition to what Miranda said and what Petula said. The awareness, the awareness we have to create is a job for all of us. The awareness we create within our communities and within the younger generations in the different roles we are playing as uncles, parents, aunties, and so on. And then the awareness we are creating to build up the confident woman. We talked about the example of situations where women are too cautious. Please, whenever you want to make the decision and you feel that you are not able because you think that you could make a mistake, just tell yourself that even if it were a man, he too could make a mistake. Then you make the decision. So that is another one. And then the aspect of being positively aggressive, it's very important. The aspect of taking along our men, our brothers, our sons, it's very important. And for the men, please, we should inform ourselves. We should watch out what we should find out what can we do to support this cause. And Miranda, thank you for reminding me of Professor Samir Dasgupta, who always asked, "Have you ever lived in a day called tomorrow?" So you cannot do it in tomorrow. You can only do it today. So it means that we have to start today, International Day of the Women. And I thank all women for their love and care that they are doing and giving us and making the world a wonderful place. I think of all the great mothers in Africa, in many countries in Africa, supporting their children, giving them all the support. Some of them giving their children education from farm work and doing a lot every day, getting up at 4 a.m. and going back to bed so late and never using the word stress, which I hear every day in Germany. I'm thinking this day of such women, and I call on our sisters to never lose faith, but believe in justice because it is on our way and we are making progress. Thank you so much.
Great. Mr. Mbolifor, over to you.
Moderator, it's your
Mr.
turn.
Moderator, your panel is yours.
The lines are so bad. I don't know what happened. I was just going on and off. Like I was saying, thank you so much. You concluded already, and we are ending today, hoping that this panel will meet again sometime to actually deliberate again on another topic, which, of course, I believe the gods of internet, the gods of network are going to spare us. But notwithstanding, you kept the conversation going because we were on the same footing, in the same spirit. I want to say that I'm so happy. With some people, I would have gone off and everything got lost, but you kept moving on. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you, Petula. Thank you, Mrs. Oben. The Sompon Social Service, Sompon Global TV is always so elated and happy when you come on board. And we are grateful for
Well,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
all
you.
for having us. Thank you too.
Thank
And
you, Petula. It was great